7 Days to Die is a game I have criticised extensively over the years, and I generally try to keep it to the big issues that actually affect how you play, the things like the awful progression, the weak endgame, and the glacial development speed. But whenever I do that, there's always some slack-jawed lobotomite who comes in and complains about me complaining without a hint of irony, and they often just say that I'm just nitpicking or looking for problems. No, I think those problems are pretty unavoidable if you play the video game and have a brain inside your skull. But in honor of the denizens of the Big Empty, I shall make a real nitpicking, griping video where I look for problems. Today we're going to go over 10 actual tiny nitpicks that I think make 7 Days to Die a tiny bit worse. It could probably be fixed relatively easily, but probably never will because they're just not important. Number 1 is cars. Cars are ever present in 7 Days to Die. They're in most POIs and on almost every road. But to me, cars represent 3 small problems for 7 Days to Die. Number 1, why can't I drive the cars? It's just a car, it runs on gasoline. We know this because it can be disassembled for gasoline, so all of these cars are fueled up and ready to go. The batteries are functional because we get the functional batteries from them for our own vehicles. The only problem would be the keys, but even then, you can hotwire cars. Project Zomboid did this, Vane did this, State of Decay did this, but why not 7 Days to Die? The answer is because it would be too powerful for the way this game works to get a functional car that easily. So then, why don't they give us a reason to not do it? It's just like the jars if you think about it. Why can't I just get in this car and drive it? I use the components from this car to build my own car. That doesn't really make any sense when you think about it. Now the second issue is that cars are strewn randomly across roads. All these people just turn into zombies while driving down the road? Did they decide to stop randomly and run off into the woods with their keys? Why are the cars often facing completely random directions? This is literally unplayable. And the third issue is perhaps a more valid and addressable concern that I actually do care about. I think cars trivialize the salvaging mechanic. There's essentially one salvaging resource you can't get from cars, and that's forged iron, which of course you can just get from forges. Everything else you can get either immediately from cars or after you get some kind of a progression event like steel and acid. Or why? Doesn't this undercut the otherwise actually engaging mechanic where you would memorize what blocks give, where the blocks spawn, and push players into conflict inside of POIs instead of salvaging being this mind-numbing walk between cars? Of all the gripes in this video, this is probably the one I'm most curious to see how it could be fixed. Cars too good, literally unplayable. Number 2. No tree color variation. Back in the day, 7 Days to Die had a much more vibrant forest biome. You can see here that it was filled not just oak trees, but with birch trees, which have white trunks and orange leaves. Now I'm not sure about the realism of the oaks being green and the birch being orange at the same time. Tree lovers sound off and give us some tree knowledge in the comments, but regardless, I think it looks much nicer instead of the green on green on green we have now, since 7 Days to Die has lost its incredibly dingy atmosphere anyway. We might as well make it look like a good game. We could add new trees to the forest biome and honestly add in new flowers. There's nothing wrong with a bit of colour in a survival game in a world that has definitely already lost its horror vibes. Besides, that's what the wasteland is for anyway. Number 3. Birds' nests. Why are birds' nests on the ground? Birds don't do that. That would be the opposite of what a nest is for. And where are the birds? And are they meant to be the chickens' nests? Seriously, where are all the crows and pigeons and seagulls in this game, and why are they putting their nests directly on the ground, where they are in most danger? From a gameplay perspective, they are quite annoying. They are a block that only gives 2 items, eggs and feathers, and currently they're the only real reliable sources of both of these items, meaning that as soon as you get a vehicle, collecting these nests becomes so annoying nobody ever does it, meaning that eggs and feathers are either abandoned or become this particular strange activity you waste time on. Fortunately, they are working on a chicken coop which will get you eggs passively later on, but I really do question why these blocks, of all things, have survived the countless removals of content from this game. Seriously, think of all the good things that have been removed from this game, and now think about how a single block that is a single source of 2 items in this game was kept in, rather than just distributing eggs and feathers into various loot tables. If I were a dev studio looking to rampantly remove content to manufacture rage bait to keep my game relevant, that's where I'd start. Amateurs, honestly. Number 4, do collector jar dupe. They implemented a system where you'll do collector descended stations like the apiary, then they implemented jars, then they implemented jar refunds, but they did not make the dew collector require jars to generate water. Now the dew collector just generates free jars if you play with jar refunds on. Once again, or why? I have to imagine this was literally like a case of, we gotta get this update out before the Christmas holidays, just send it kind of thing, and they'll probably fix it eventually. Anyway, literally unplayable. Number 5, no single biome support. It is a time-honored tradition to make your own single biome maps to torture yourself in 7 days to die. You can do this by altering your world files directly, but even after all these years, they haven't added it to the random world generator even though it has a biome slider. Why can I not just set it to 100% burnt forest and suffer the eternal pain of grey skies? Say it with me, literally unplayable. Number 6, the double barrel shotgun can't use the sawed off mod. Now obviously this is because the double barrel shotgun is already sawn off. But then, why is the image for the sawed off mod a double barrel shotgun sawed off barrel? It is only compatible with the single barrel shotguns. So why is it a double barrel icon? Why is it not just compatible with the double barrel shotgun, but the double barrel shotgun has a longer barrel by default? Or why is it not depicted as a singular sawn off barrel? As a matter of fact, why do I even need a mod to saw it off? You just saw off the barrel. That's why it's called that. If anything, it shouldn't cost me materials, it should give me materials. Anyway, this keeps me up at night and makes the game literally unplayable. Number 7, all the other mods. Why are so many mods just not visually depicted on the guns? 13 years into making this game? Ore grips, retracting stocks, hunting mods, rad removers, various barrel attachments, the bipod and magazine extensions, and they just have no visible presence at all. Presumably because they can't be fucked. They have 100 employees, what do you mean they can't be fucked? And while I'm on the topic, the double barrel shotgun flashlight clips with the player's hand in first person. $45 video game, by the way. Number 8, potato seeds. Potatoes are one of the last seeds you unlock in the progression of this game for some reason. A potato plant in real life is created by letting a potato sprout, which is done by doing nothing to it for an extended period of time, and then you cut it in half and put it in the ground. Literally, this is the only plant seed in the world you will end up with accidentally because you forgot about the produce from the plant. What do you mean I need to be a master of agriculture to plant a fucking potato? A potato is a seed. Literally unplayable. Number 9, solar power. Solar banks and panels are only found at the trader for extortionate prices, and at the end of the day, they're shit. Only working half the day, generating half the power of gas generators in a game where gas is near infinite. I appreciate that they do have their niche uses, but would it kill them to just make them craftable or put them in the loot tables? Because they're so genuinely shit. Why are they so heavily guarded? Number 10, logical inconsistencies in the world. When is this game set? We know it's post-2034, that's confirmed lore, which rhymed, but we don't know how long after the apocalypse this has been going. The game is set in Arizona, and there are almost no stock guns available anywhere, and most of the guns are made from scrap materials. Okay, so it must have been an incredibly long time for the guns to run out in Arizona with like 99% of the population dead. And also, this game is set in the United States of America, but 45 ACP and 5.56x45 are not bullet calibers present in this setting despite their popularity with Americans, nor are 22 calibers, which have near universal presence in a lot of countries. Instead, we apparently have mountains of 9x19, 44 Magnum, unnamed shotgun shells, and magical 7.62 that can fit 4 guns that should definitely be using different types of bullets. We have the Soviet AK-47, which in real life would be using 7.62x39 cartridges, and this gun is apparently everywhere, but there's no AR-15 in this game. There's the Soviet SVD, which would be using 7.62x54mm rimmed cartridges, and this gun was apparently put in favor of the marksman rifle, which is a visibly American firearm, and this ubiquitous universal shape-shifting 7.62 bullet is also used in the M60, notably chambered in 7.62x51mm NATO, which is a third entirely different bullet. These 3 different guns are using 3 different bullets all loaded with the same bullet because it starts with a 7.62, and to be clear, none of these bullets so far are interchangeable. This isn't like a 308 7.62x51mm thing where they can maybe maybe be sometimes swapped. No, these are just 3 completely different bullets that cannot be fired from the same gun. There's also potentially some random other kind of 7.62 that you would be able to load into a lever action rifle, even though this game has 44 Magnum, which is a bullet that can be used in various lever action rifles. I do not think there are any lever action 7.62s, but I haven't done extensive research. It's also used by the hunting rifle and this presumably fictional AR-762 platform. It seems to be some kind of inbred descendant of the AR-10, but it's very clearly not the AR-10, which makes my brain hurt. And here comes the 4th type of ammo potentially. We have the pipe machine gun, which just isn't going to work. If we say for a moment that this is using 7.62 by 51mm loaded into a pipe gun with a 15-round magazine, what the fuck are you talking about? There's a very real possibility, given that it's clearly meant to be an SMG and it's modeled after the MP40 in a vague sense, and it's got such a small magazine, that this little fuck is meant to be firing something like 7.62 by 25mm, which is what the PPSH used, among various other Soviet pistols. But that would be absolutely batshit insane if that was the most common type of bullet in this video game. And if all these guns are so rare that we have to use scrap guns and all of the most common bullet types like 22, 45 ACP and 5.56 have dried up, why the fuck is the power still on? Why is there fresh food I can still find in containers? I can hear the refrigerators are still functioning. Is this game set 100 years after the apocalypse or 10 days after the apocalypse? I don't fucking understand any of it. And why does every house have a loot stash in it? And how come every house has 34 zombies in it? And how are the zombies hiding inside of these closets? Every once in a while, sure, someone went in and hid in a closet and turned into a zombie and was stuck in there, right? Okay, fair enough. This happens in every building, like 4 times. Or why? Literally unplayable. Now, I hope everyone had enough media literacy to understand that this video was deliberately very silly, poking logical holes in various things, though they do lightly annoy me when I stop to think about them. It exists to contrast the more important critiques for the game more than anything. I hope I didn't ruin the game for anybody by pointing out these tiny things you can't unsee in 7 Days to Die. I want to point out that this is the kind of video that's like comparable to a Cinema Sins video, where they just make up problems for the sake of comedy, and you shouldn't take any of what I've said in this video too seriously as actual problems with this video game that I would ever think actually stop people from buying them. Would it be nice if these were fixed? Sure, but they're not important. It's a video game, there's dumb shit in them, it's fine. Although they probably should fix the jar duping thing. Anyway, if you want some more 7 Days to Die content, why not check out this video where I went over 100 new menu toggles. 7 Days to Die needs to be perfect. It will not solve a single one of these issues though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.